welcome to the Nerd Room, where we talk all things comics and movies. This is episode 8, where we're discussing the Super Bowl movie trailers, and we are kicking off our epic, multi-episode battle of the comic book movies. I'm one of your hosts, Tim.
And I'm Sunjay. Did that sound Batman-esque? How was that?
It's close.
I need the voice modulator. Welcome, everyone, to episode 8, Quest for Peace. Tim?
Oh, man, that was a mouthful to start there.
So, Tim, you mentioned Super Bowl. Did you watch it?
Yes, I did, actually.
Nice. Did your Broncos win? Were you cheering for the Broncos?
Yeah, I've always cheered for the underdogs. That was the first and last game I've watched all season.
You're undefeated then.
Yes, exactly. You know, I told my buddy, I was like, we should bet on the Broncos. We should put it all on the Broncos. He's telling me, oh, hey, they're going to get their asses kicked. And, you know, I was like, let's just put a whole bunch of money on it. You know, we could be watching Deadpool this weekend in some beach or whatever. But no.
Could have had Ryan Reynolds with us.
Yeah.
So, Tim, you know, speaking of Super Bowl, epic matchups, you know, the Super Bowl started, it was one team from the National Football League versus one team from the America Football League. So it's kind of like DC and Marvel. You know, we're talking about Super Bowl. What would be one DC versus Marvel movie that you think, A, you most want to watch? So 2 characters from each side, and B, which one would be the highest box office gross?
We've yet to see Black Panther in action, but I'd love to see Black Panther versus Batman.
Oh, how sick would that be?
It would be awesome.
Oh, that'd be off the charts. Like, I would literally watch it 30 times. I would just have, like, repeat, like, get a season's pass or something, and just go nonstop. It would destroy all records. What do you think? Do you think that'd be the highest grossing, or is that just the one you most want to see?
That's just the one I most want to see, probably, or maybe like Cap versus Batman or something like that. Something on that level where we had kind of 2 normal men kind of punching each other in the face a whole bunch of times. Yeah, I wouldn't want to see this epic thing. You know, maybe Superman versus Thor or something like that. I don't know. Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool. I think gross definitely be probably Batman versus Iron Man.
Yeah, probably.
I don't think anything would be able to top that. I mean, Superman's draw is it's still up there, but it's not as high as Batman. And then in the Marvel side, definitely Iron Man's still king.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, speaking of superheroes and Super Bowl.
Yeah, oh, nice segue.
You know, one of the biggest spectacles, you know, of the year in sports.
Yep.
And with that, the studios take this opportunity to give us some of their best trailers.
Oh yeah.
And I think we were treated to some of the best trailers I've seen in a long time.
Oh, definitely. I remember one Super Bowl, the trailers we got were Don't Mess with the Zohan and the Love Guru. So it's definitely been a step up in quality this time around.
Definitely. Like, I remember in 2012,
yeah,
I don't watch football or anything like that, but I always watch the Super Bowl for the trailers, right? And now we get them online kind of as they're happening, but I sat glued to the TV waiting for the Avengers TV spot to drop.
Yeah.
You know, in similar anticipation that I did waiting for the Civil War one to drop on Sunday night. I still remember watching that. That's still one of my most favorite trailers. It was like a whole bunch of unfinished CG in it, but, you know, it gave us the look at the Avengers, and I was so stoked for that.
Oh, yeah. That was groundbreaking. For the first time ever, we got the team-up movie.
Exactly.
You know, as they say, the cinematic universe hasn't been the same since.
And Marvel continued their winning ways.
Yes, I mean, they definitely won with the Ant-Man and Hulk.
I'd say so. I think that's universally agreed upon.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? I still remember it's a Coke commercial. Sometimes these commercials get so good, you forget what the product's actually for.
Yeah.
But this time, Coke, you know, it featured prominently in the ad. For those of you who haven't seen it, I encourage you to check it out right away. It's Ant-Man, and he goes in, he steals a Coke from Dr. Banner's office.
Yeah, just shy of showing Mark Ruffalo. I don't think they could get him in a day of the shooting.
You know, the one thing I really liked about this, I had no idea it was coming. Complete secret. In this day and age with the internet, I thought someone would blow the cover off of it. But no, they kept their lips tight, and you know what? I had no idea. I was pleasantly surprised when I heard about this.
Yeah, I knew something was coming from Marvel and Coke, and it was probably a commercial of some sort, but nothing of that degree. You know, we have Paul Rudd playing Ant-Man, which is fantastic, and a cinematic quality Hulk on a commercial.
Yeah.
You know, that's incredible.
Oh, yeah. You know, if they really wanted Civil War, they could have put in a Pepsi in there.
Yeah. But I'm thinking, you know, the nerd in me goes back and says, well, is this canon?
Yeah.
You know, where does this fit into the cinematic universe? I'm thinking in my head, okay, that's the Ant-Man costume from the movie, because in Civil War he clearly gets a new one.
Yeah.
Hulk is supposed to be floating off in space somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's post-Age of Ultron, and we know Ant-Man doesn't show up until post-Age of Ultron because of the Falcon scene. Where does this fit in? I've been thinking about this all day. I'm trying to figure out, drawing timelines. I've got all the pins on the wall and drawing with the yarn across and the string and everything. I'm trying to figure out where this fits into canon. It's driving me nuts. Someone, help me out here.
Someone tweet him. I mean, literally, he's been pacing up and down the halls. He doesn't even know. He's just losing his mind. Guys, help him out. I think, maybe they're showing their hand. Maybe Hulk comes back. Maybe he doesn't actually go to Ragnarok. Or maybe that's why he goes to Asgard. Thor promised an infinite amount of Coke.
Yeah, you can have as many Cokes as you'd like.
Coca-Cola.
No, so this is a pretty cool tie-in because Coke's now got this line of Coke cans that got coming out. So it's Ant-Man, Hulk, Cap, Iron Man, Widow, and Falcon.
Okay.
And interesting enough, the Falcon looks, and maybe the Cap too, looks a bit more comic, where the others look more cinematic.
Interesting.
So I'm going to be stalking the pop and chip aisle from now until I get all of these.
Okay, so where do you find these? Because DC's come out with the Dr. Peppers for Batman vs. Superman.
I saw them the other day.
Where were they?
So if you just go into like the pop aisle,
they're
you just walk down it, you go to Safeway or whatever, and they've got that whole wall of like 12 to 24 packs and all the bottles and that. Yeah. They're just tucked in there. Oh. It's in a full case though. So Marvel did the same thing with Dr. Pepper, and you have to buy like a 12 pack of Dr. Pepper cans. And I don't know if Batman vs. Superman is doing this, but the original Avengers Dr. Pepper collector's cans did this, where they were all case packed and randomized, with the exception of maybe like a cherry Dr. Pepper and a Diet Dr. Pepper had one kind of variant. But like the main four, like Hulk, Thor, Iron Man, and Cap, were all like regular Dr. Pepper. So I had like 6 cases where because some of them you get like a Thor and 11 Iron Man in it. So I literally just threw out the Coke cans the Dr. Pepper cans I had from 2012, and then I upped the ante here with the Dr. Pepper can collecting. That was a mouthful.
Say that 3 times fast.
And I got the Age of Ultron ones. These were a bit easier because they came kind of in more of a variety, and there's King cans and stuff like that. Okay. But yeah, I did see them at Safeway in kind of 12 packs. So one thing I would recommend doing though is going and checking out kind of at convenience stores and that, going and looking at their individual pop sections, because you can get them. I found ones there before. You can get them. You don't have to worry about buying the 12 pack, because I still got 36 cans of Dr. Pepper in my garage from the summertime. Waiting just to chuck them. And because they're collectors, I feel like I got to hold on to them for longer.
Yeah, naturally. Speaking of, tie-in products with food, I got to try out the Batman and the Superman cereal. And let me tell you, in the battle of Batman v Superman in cereal section, Superman takes it. Got a cinnamon, versus the Batman's a chocolate and strawberries. It sounds erotic, but it's pretty good. But definitely, as a brown man, I identify with the cinnamon.
What do you think about collecting food tie-ins? Star Wars goes, almost pathetically deep. Like coffee creamers, cookies, crackers, everything you can think of.
You could have Jabba the Hutt, like Starbucks. I'll have a Jabba instead of the Venti.
Yeah, there you go.
The tie-ins write themselves.
I have to draw the line at the cans. Yeah. I was like, maybe I'll get all the Force Awakens cereal. And then I found out there's 7 boxes. And where are you going to display this kind of stuff? Yeah. And how collectible is it? Mind you, I think that some of the original Star Wars cereals quite valuable right now.
I could imagine. Would you try it?
God, no. But one thing that I will caution, if you are going to get the cans, don't set them above things. Because the Coke or whatever will eventually eat through the can. The cans I had from the original Avengers had set up in a shelf for, maybe 2-3 years. And it was above a lot of my posters that I had stored. And I went and moved them. Yeah. And, it worked out great, because not too long after, one of them broke and actually leaked all over the place. Wow. And so I was really lucky that I had them set aside and it didn't get over my posters and that. But what I did, and what I still do, is I drill holes in the bottom of them. It makes a bit of a mess when you're doing it. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you kind of get all the pop out, and I just plug it with a little bit of hot glue, and then they're empty. They look like they're still full because you haven't busts the top cap.
Right.
And they're good to display. You don't have to worry about them sitting above anything or anything like that.
Is it more valuable if the tab is still on, or?
I don't know. It makes, to me, it looks more complete.
Yeah.
Than, if it's popped open, but you could go either way. You can get 2 sets and do both, and just to be case, just in case.
Get 3 sets and then, just get all the sets. Just buy it all.
Yeah, so, Marvel wins with that commercial.
Oh, absolutely.
But we had a lot of trailers.
Yes, we did. And some of them good, some of them not so much.
Yeah, and they were all really short as they are during this, and which I really, really like. And, I'm always cautioning to not watch more than one trailer or extended trailers or anything like that. But the nice thing about these TV spots is that they're very, very short. You can't show a whole bunch in 30 seconds.
No.
But, our first one that we're going to talk about here, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, number 2.
Yeah.
Out of the Shadows or something like that?
I think so. What do you think? I want to hear your thoughts.
I don't know. This thing looks like a Michael Bay film again,
Yeah.
And going in, you have to fully accept that because it looks like the movie has fully embraced all the Michael Bay-ness that it is.
Oh,
right?
yes.
It's got, ridiculous characterization. It's got outlandish explosions. It's got short skirts.
Yeah.
It's got all that. And, it confirms Krang
Yeah.
as the main villain.
I was happy to see that.
Yeah, me too. It looks like they've gone back and said, you know what? We're not putting this on any sort of dark and gritty scale.
No.
We're not trying to make this a serious, tonally dark movie.
No.
We're making this a fun. We're embracing the 90s cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
We're bringing in Bebop and Rocksteady. Hey, why not bring in Krang? Let's just go all out here.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing, and I think it's going to be a fun movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's not going to be groundbreaking. It's not going to be the best comic book movie of all time, or even, it's probably not even going to rank in your top 50.
But
it's going to be
the best
fun.
Ninja Turtles movie of all time.
I don't know.
Wow. You think it will be?
No, I think it'll fall. I think it'll be better than the first one.
Yeah.
I think they've gone back and said, let's embrace this, the goofiness of this. Let's embrace this and just go forward with it.
Oh yeah, it seems like just like Michael Bay just took action figures and was like pew 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 and just started like banging them together, and then they filmed it and they're like, all right, let's throw $100 million behind this and shoot it, and we got a movie.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see it, but that said, I'm definitely gonna leave my brain at the door when I do.
That's exactly what you have to do with this sort of stuff. You can't go in expecting anything more than a typical Michael Bay movie with Ninja Turtles.
I guess you could just leave your brain in your stomach. All the Krang. Yeah, you see what I did there?
Oh, nice.
A little foreshadowing.
We also had X-Men Apocalypse.
Yes.
I would have to say this did up my excitement level for the movie.
Oh, me too.
I came in a little bit from the first trailer.
Yep.
And this took me to my next level. I'm still not, this doesn't bump it up into my top 5 or anything for the year, but it gets me a little more excited. It gave us a little more of the 4 Horsemen, particularly our 3 new 4 Horsemen in Psylocke, Storm, and Angel, which was great. We see a ton of destruction, and we see some of the young X-Men, Cyclops and Jean Grey.
That's right.
And so they're really looks like they're trying to shift the focus of this franchise to these new players. Which is really great, and I think that's the way we're gonna have to go. There it looks like, I know Mystique and Jennifer Lawrence are gonna lead this movie, but there's got to be some sort of passing of the torch in here, because she's done after this, right?
Yeah.
And we'll probably still get Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy continuing through this, but maybe in scaled back roles. It looks like maybe we're handing this off to another new generation of X-Men.
Oh yeah, and you mean Hugh Jackman? He's leaving. I don't even know if he's gonna be in this. But then you got Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, so I could see that being the focus of the next movie, where you throw in Deadpool, you get rid of Mystique and Wolverine, and you have a brand new story to tell.
Yeah, and so it's interesting you say that, because there was an Instagram video posted with Olivia Munn, who plays Psylocke.
Right.
She's doing this big sword action sequence, flipping it around, and then the camera pans, and it's Ryan Reynolds standing there.
Really?
And then he taps her with a balloon sword. So this is really giving some light to the fact that we might be looking at maybe some sort of team up between the two, or even better, an X-Force movie.
Oh.
So there's rumors that there are 2 Deadpool end credit scenes, one of which was showed to the critics, and one that hasn't been yet.
Okay.
And it's rumored that there might be something with Psylocke. And so we're seeing kind of because they take place at very different times, I'm assuming, I don't know, I'm assuming Deadpool takes place more or less in present day.
Yes, it looks like that.
Yeah, and that the X-Men Apocalypse is in the 80s, right?
I think so, because they had the monikers like Star Wars.
Yeah.
The Empire Strikes Back was the 80s?
Yeah,
Yes.
AD.
So what's X-Force? So I know X-Men. So what's X-Force?
X-Force is, I don't know a whole bunch about it, but I think it's basically like this badass team of superheroes. And it's, you know, sometimes been composed. Wolverine's been in it,
Okay.
Deadpool, Cable, I think Psylocke as well. And it's just another X team.
Yeah.
They seem to be probably maybe more of the X team that are willing to bend some of the rules or even break them and kill people and stuff like that. I'm not positive on that. I haven't read really that much X-Force. But, you know, they're often dressed in kind of more of a black and gray outfits. And, you know, it's a little more badass, maybe a little more kill or be killed sort of kind of guys in it.
As opposed to the singer fetish black and leather.
Yes, exactly.
I got a theory. So Vin Diesel's coming out with Triple X3. Maybe that's going to be a crossover with the X-Men, you know? I can see it. Vin Diesel, you know, he's eyeing another Marvel role. Everyone was saying he's going to take another Marvel role. I think this is it. Triple X is Marvel canon. You heard it here first, people.
Oh, man. Some of your theories. I love them.
If one of them pan out, you know, I'm going to look like a genius.
Yes, you are. Speaking of Deadpool.
Yes.
This thing is getting fantastic reviews.
Yep.
It looks like it's, you know, everything that we're expecting it to be. It's action-packed. It's vulgar.
Yep.
It embraces everything that is Deadpool.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I think, you know, they're doing the breaking the fourth wall stuff where he's talking to the crowd. And I think this thing is just going to be absolutely a riot to go and see. And, you know, that's what we're going to be talking about next week. You know, we're going this weekend to check it out. And we'll be reviewing it next week. And we're going to try for the first time the trio review.
Oh, interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it should be good.
The Trinity. So, you know, you're saying Deadpool's getting good reviews, and I checked on Rotten Tomatoes. I think it's at, I don't know, do you check Rotten Tomatoes before you see a movie, or do you just go in blind?
I usually don't, but I did check for this one.
Okay, I saw it was at 83%, I think, around there right now.
Okay, that's dropped quite a bit, because it was at 97 when I checked this morning. Yeah.
So there's a couple, you know, it's a couple negative reviews, nothing terrible. Do you find that, you know, that skews your perspective? Like, if you go into a movie, say, I think it skews, like, the general population. Like, if you took 100 random people, and you threw 50 into one movie and 50 into another, and you told, you know, group A, critics love this movie, it won an Oscar in, like, 1950s. And then it was the exact same movie B, and you said critics hated this movie, it bombed, it was terrible. And you asked both studies to rank the movie. I bet you the group A would rank it higher. Do you think, you know, I think critics have such a powerful impact on how we perceive a movie. You know, and word of mouth is such a powerful thing. Sometimes it's better just to go in blind, because that can really skew your opinion of a movie.
Oh, definitely. And I think more so than what critics are saying, like actually people that do this for a living.
Yeah.
I don't pay a lot of attention to those people, but what the community is saying bothers me more.
Yeah.
So if, you know, we spend some time on different websites, different forums and stuff like that. If I'm hearing very poor things from the comic book community, I probably take more of that weight into the movie theater than I would if, you know, some random critic from some random website that really doesn't have, you know, the knowledge, the background, and, you know, the overall love for the characters.
Yeah.
I would take a lot less from him than I would from someone, you know, that's a huge Deadpool fan and walks out and says, that was not what I wanted. That's nothing like the character. There's nothing that I was promised. You know, I'll take more of that into the movie theater. So, you know, I try to stay more away from the community until I see stuff like this. Unless, you know, it's something that, you know, I'm kind of on the fence about seeing. Then I'll see what everyone's saying, what the community's saying, and make my own judgment call from there.
Speaking of which, make sure you don't miss our review next week.
Exactly. We had the Batman v Superman.
Turkish
Not
Airlines.
so much a trailer, They've gone a different route with this.
Yeah, so Warner Brothers typically doesn't take part with the Super Bowl trailers. So they didn't actually have to pay for that spot. It was all Turkish Airlines.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
cheeky.
they got free advertising from those crazy Turks. I thought it was good. So the reason why it's Turkish Airlines is because I think Themyscira is around Turkey. Okay. So it makes sense that they would be flying that airline. And I thought they were kind of cool. They're kind of neat, something different, you know. Turkish Airlines is proud to present, you know, the first nonstop flight to Metropolis or Gotham. I thought that was really cool. Then you had Luthor and Batman introducing the city. That was a neat little setup and got people talking a little bit. And hey, they didn't have to spend a dime, and they were watched by over 100 million people. So hats off to them.
The first thing I thought of when I watched it was they have no more footage to show.
Yeah.
They've shown it all.
It's all gone. The movie's 6 minutes long, and half of it is just infomercial for Turkish Airlines.
Exactly. No, I thought it was an interesting way to go. It was, I don't know if it was filmed before the release of the last trailer. Maybe they're taking some cues from fandom and saying, maybe we shouldn't show any more footage.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of a nice, unique way of introducing the two cities and kind of what's happened to Metropolis post Man of Steel. Luthor's clearly rebuilt it.
Yep.
He's put a lot of money into it. You see the LexCorp Tower kind of in there. And then you see Wayne on the other side. And it hints that Gotham's had this really dark and kind of sketchy past, but they've come out of it. So it's implying a lot of depth and a lot of history to both Gotham. And then it's also relating to the most recent events of Man of Steel in Metropolis. So it was a cool way to kind of tie things together without really... showing any more footage or any more dialogue. And then when they had at the end of both of them, they had Batman and Superman kind of lining up and facing each other. So.
Oh, yeah. Did you catch the Joker Easter egg?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so in the one for Gotham, you can see Ace Chemicals in the background.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so that's where the Joker, he falls into the vat of acid. Because, comic books, it's always acid.
Yeah.
It's never base, it's always acid. Yeah. So that's where he falls into the chemicals. So, maybe that's a Suicide Squad nod. And there's also the Opera House. And that could be, where the Wayne's parents get shot. But I don't know, I thought it was kind of cool. And as I said, you got the Joker Easter egg, so it's kind of cool. Check it out again. You might notice it. It's kind of at the beginning, you can see a sign that just says Ace Chemicals.
It's in the background, I think, when he's standing in his tower, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I heard there's one more trailer coming out for Batman v Superman. Yeah, and a lot of people are like, what? Too many trailers. But Age of Ultron also had 3 trailers. So, I think 3 trailers is kind of the norm. I mean, if you exclude the comic book or the San Diego Comic Convention exclusive.
I think you have to, because not everyone's... You can see those on YouTube through some guy's cell phone behind 4 people's heads.
Yeah, exactly. I still look.
So do I. I've watched the Infinity War trailer like 1,000 times, probably.
Yeah. So, I bet you Infinity Wars will have about 3 trailers as well. I think Cap 3 will have 3.
They all do to some degree. It's just you have to be a bit more disciplined on watching them, right? I know people complain about trailers and that, but just don't watch them. Yeah,
exactly. I've checked out. I'm no longer watching any more BVS. I'm not reading any spoilers.
Because you've seen the whole movie already.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just joking.
If you want to send your angry email, send it to the Nerd Room. That's thenerdrm@gmail.com.
I'd be happy to take your questions.
The first one to ask us the question gets the very same notes from this episode that I've written up. So if anyone wants to send in a question and get a copy of these specific Sunjay notes, send it in.
The only ones in existence.
Yeah, it's so funny, the difference between me and Tim. Like, I have the paper and the old school pen, and then Tim's here with like an iPad, like a touchscreen laptop. It's crazy. It's like the difference between Captain America and Iron Man.
It's all that podcast money. We're raking it in. I'm spending it on electronics. No, we don't make any money.
You're not supposed to tell them that.
Yeah, I'll edit that out. No, I won't.
Speaking of the Cap versus Iron Man, and we got a little Civil War sneaky poo.
Oh, okay. Biased aside.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to be super biased here. I felt like I had to preface that sentence with that to make me sound less biased. But anyways, I think this is almost the near perfect TV spot. It had, minimal plot details.
Yeah.
Minimal dialogue.
Yeah.
And just images of the characters, but images of the characters in familiar settings from what we've already seen. So we didn't get really any sort of view of any different action pieces or set pieces. And we just got a views of the two teams, some awesome images of Bucky, some awesome images of Bucky and Cap, and a really, really fantastic interaction between Bucky and Iron Man.
Tries to shoot him in the face.
But see how shocked he looks at it? Like, that's a really cool scene. And it looks super well acted by Robert Downey Jr. I was like, as with the original Civil War, I watched it 10 or 12 times or something like that. And it's just oh man, I have no words. We still don't see Spidey. Yeah. We get the first view of Ant-Man in the trailer, and he's lining up with Cap. He's got clearly a new or a different mask on.
Yep.
And then we get a fantastic view of Black Panther.
Yes.
Oh man, looks like he's got this vibranium suit, and looks like him and Cap have had some interplay. Oh wow. And the music in the background.
Yeah.
The chanting, united we stand, united we fall, divided we fall. I didn't catch this right away. I was too busy focusing on the visuals.
Yeah.
And then my wife kind of said, that chanting is awesome. Like, listen to what they say. And then she said that, and I was like, oh, did they really say that? Like, so good. Like, I just love it. It's, it's kind of reminiscent of Dark Knight Rises, right?
I had that written down right here. Dark Knight Rises. I was like, I've seen this before.
Yeah.
When Batman's climbing the...
exactly.
The jail.
And it's powerful.
Yeah.
It's... I don't know. It really... You focus on the music a bit after watching the visuals a couple of times, and it really, really brought the trailer together for me.
Yeah. I expected Iron Man to say, Cap, you must make the climb without the rope. So, this is going to come up. Team Cap, Team Iron Man.
I tweeted out and promised that we'd pick our sides. We'd choose our sides here.
All right.
We'd lay it out all on the table. Troy's declared...
Should we do it on 3? Oh, okay. Well, what did Troy declare first?
Troy declared his allegiance to Team Cap.
Okay. So on 3, we'll say our allegiances. Ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Iron Man.
Team Cap.
Oh my God. Okay. Let's discuss this as rational adults. Can't believe you're Team Cap. What is this? I'm leaving the nerd. No, I'm just kidding.
Just gonna get my friend Bucky to shoot you in the face.
Here's the thing. Cap's being selfish. I'm just going to throw it out there.
He's the most selfless man on the planet.
Bucky flat out murders people. Okay, he's been an assassin.
He was mind-wiped. He wasn't know what he was doing.
Dear Judge, I was too drunk when I drove into that pole. Please don't give me a DUI.
When you drink and drive, that's a choice. Bucky didn't have a choice to do this. He was found and he was dragged. The Russians mind-wiped him.
He had a choice not to shoot Iron Man in the face.
Yeah, but we don't know what Iron Man's done.
This is kind of like Batman and Two-Face. They were friends, and then Two-Face went the evil route. But Batman still captures him. He's not letting Two-Face roam around, and there's no Two-Face and Batman vs. Superman.
They weren't best friends. They didn't fight in World War II together, man.
It's true. They got that allegiance. They're probably like blood brothers. I could see them like cutting their hands and then sticking their hands together.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But they do portray Bucky in that trailer as... I don't know. I got this feeling, this really dark feeling to Bucky that he almost had two sides to him.
Yeah.
And he had the side when he was with Cap, and then the side when he was looking at to shoot Iron Man.
He's Two-Face.
And oh man, I drew that. Walked right into that. But it's I don't know. Cap's my guy.
Yeah.
And I'm on his side. But, the trailer did make me quite, he seems to be the one on the run, and it's interesting. I really want to see the dynamic here.
Oh, yeah.
And, I'm turned up to 11 on this one.
This movie's going to be huge. Probably one of the biggest movies of all time.
It's going to be up there. I would be shocked if this and Rogue One aren't competing for the number 1 movie of the year.
If you could only see one, what would you choose?
This is a tough one. Holy man.
And the one you don't see, they destroy all copies so you can never see it again.
This is the hardest thing I've had to think about in the last 30 seconds.
It's like Nerd Room, Sophie's Choice.
Right now, if you told me I could only watch one, I would have to watch Civil War.
Yeah,
I think that right now I'm so invested in both of the characters. It's a culmination of the Cap trilogy. Mm-hmm. It's really going to fire us into Phase 3 and towards Infinity War. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I have to see the end of this Cap story,
Yeah.
Rogue One, if I never see that, it would be so incredibly unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I think I would hurt me more not to see the end of Cap's story in his solo trilogy films.
Yeah, it's a tough choice, Decision, I'm not as invested in Star Wars, so I would make the easy choice, Civil War. Looks insane. Like, which team would you rather be on? Like
Iron Man's 100%.
Yeah. Because he's got Vision, he's got... Who else does he have?
War Machine. Black Panther. Black Widow. Yeah.
So before we end off, this isn't involved with the Super Bowl trailers or anything, but just a brief bit of news that came out. Now we got our first prediction for Batman v Superman opening weekend. I saw it was 154 million, and domestic total predicted 380 million. Initial thoughts?
I think that's a bit shy of what it's going to do opening weekend.
I think it's a little low. Yeah. I mean, no ticket has been sold yet. So, I mean, this is just purely speculative on, I think the website's boxoffice.com.
I think they track stuff like, you know, how it's doing on social media and stuff like that. And they use like a relative scale to other movies and kind of parallel what they've made. Usually with these type of movies, their initial prediction is quite low. Yeah. And sometimes the initial prediction comes from the studio itself, which is placing itself, you know, in a zone where it's not going to look like it fails. Yeah. If it makes less than maybe what they're thinking is 190, but we're going to put it at 150. So, you know, it doesn't look like we failed when we only make 170 or something like that, right? No,
exactly. You know, they were pretty bang on. I checked this website with Ant-Man. I think they were within 1 million of opening weekend, but 30 million less than what it actually made. Yeah. And then Jurassic World, they were completely off, but I think that was just a surprise for everyone.
And I think this one's going to be a bit harder to predict because we don't have a lot to compare to unless you look at something like an Avengers movie. But the issue there is they had a whole bunch of movies leading into this, so it had momentum. Yeah. You know, this does have, you know, a Man of Steel movie that wasn't widely received by a large population. You know, it was a good movie, but it doesn't have kind of that same momentum as the Avengers movie did. But then again, you're talking about two of the most well-known superheroes going into a single movie. Oh, yeah. So I think this thing is going to be hard to really judge and hard to really, you know, pinpoint where it's going to do as far as box office gross or box office even the opening weekend. So I don't know how they're going to compare this. You know, I think this is going to run similar to Age of Ultron. I think that Age of Ultron suffered a bit from not great word of mouth, and I think this is going to get uplift because of what it is, right? Yeah, it's the opening. Really, you know, Man of Steel was, but this is really the opening shot into the DC Cinematic Universe, right?
I like to think of Man of Steel as the prelude to the DC Universe, and this is, you know, the prequel. This is the main event. You know, I was looking at some of the old DC comparables. So Man of Steel made 110 million opening weekend. Not bad.
Yeah, but even when you compare it to that, it's got to do better than 40 million. Yeah. In the opening weekend compared to Man of Steel.
Oh, yeah. And then The Dark Knight Rises, this was without 3D, was 160 million. Now, there was that terrible tragedy shooting in Colorado at the movie theater, and I think that affected the gross, because if you look at the next weekend, it was down like 65%, which is massive drop. And, you know, I really enjoyed it. A lot of people, critics loved it. I thought audiences loved it. But now you go on the internet, and it's probably one of the most hated movies out there.
I still really enjoy it.
I love it too. To me, it's my favorite. It might be a controversial statement because The Dark Knight was just a master film, period. Not just a comic book or superhero film. It was just a master film. Yeah. But The Dark Knight Rises, just love it.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Bane's a fantastic villain in that. Love it.
Should we do a Bane voice?
No. I can try, but I sound ridiculous every time I do it.
And he didn't?
At least he had hundreds of people working behind the scenes to try to make him sound better. I have you and I.
There's got to be an app. You know,
I'm sure there is.
Yeah, in terms of iconic voices, you got Darth Vader. Yeah. I think you got to put Bane up there. I mean, what other iconic, like...
I wouldn't put him quite on the same level as Darth Vader.
He's breaking Vader's back. Just having him hoisted up. Just snapping Vader's back.
Vader would force choke that punk out.
Tweet us who'd win, Bane or Vader.
No question. This is our battle episode.
Yeah. The Super Bowl.
So changing gears here a little bit.
Yes.
You and I attended one of, I don't know if it's bi-monthly or whatever it is, comic book sales down at Sunnyside in Calgary.
Yes, so if you want to check it out, go to the website overstockcomics.com. So me and Tim have been going to the sale for years now, and they sell a lot of really good back issues at a good price. And I've been able to go back and backfill my collection, because when I first started reading, I started with the New 52. And then people kept talking about all the events that happened pre-52. And so using this sale, I was able to go back and find a lot of events and a lot of books that have really broadened my love for the DC universe. And, you know, most books are about $2, so it's a pretty good deal. I enjoy it. I go probably every time, and I always find something new. You know, it's the thrill of the hunt. You know, you'll be there for like an hour, flipping through a long box, you know, and it'll be nothing but Dazzler comics and, stuff that you don't really read. And then all of a sudden you'll see the one issue that you've been looking years for. And like you can honestly hear like trumpets and clouds come down, and time moves slowly as you reach to grab it and then pull it close to your chest and hold it tight and tell it you're never letting it go.
I'd have to agree. I've had a few moments of those. It's just that, sprite. You're like, oh my God, there it is. No way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it's one of these things, this particular cell, he used to sell them out of like a storage locker up in the Northeast or whatever. And, this is like I've done the same. This is where I filled out the majority of my back issues as far as collecting goes. He's got fantastic prices, fantastic deals. And, I'm a bit hesitant to give away my kind of how I go at this or how I attack these sales.
Yeah.
But I will say that there's plenty of unsorted comic book boxes.
Yep.
And I found some real gems in there in the past. And, the guy's really good about honoring the prices.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I'd definitely go check it out. I threw a picture up on Twitter just showing what I pulled this past week. And I got, the 5 Fallen Sun books, which, we're going to talk a bit about when we do our Civil War comic book review. As well as I got, I'm considering a bit of redemption here. Because I've told the story before where I was at a comic sale and I saw, a short box full of Marvel original Star Wars comics.
Right.
And they're $2 a piece. And I just picked the best ones out and I didn't buy the whole long box.
Oh.
But this past weekend, I found a nice run of 15 issues of it for $2 a piece. And I was so happy when I found them. I just grabbed them all up and, happily walked out of there with them. And so, I ended up with, I think, about 40 or 50 bucks worth of comic books there at $2 a piece. So you can't go wrong.
No, and it's really funny because, we don't fight, so like you go and get the Marvel stuff and I'll keep an eye out for you. And then I go and get the DC stuff, but you always have an eye out for me.
Exactly.
So it actually works really well, the yin and the yang.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's like you get up beside a guy and you're kind of always looking over at him.
You creeping, eh?
Yeah, you're like, oh man, what's he chasing? What's he chasing?
Yeah.
Is he after Avengers 2? Or he's looking at Cap stuff? And then you're like, I do it all the time. And I'm always got my one eye on the next guy because I'm like, if he's chasing the same thing, I'm jumping the box ahead of him. And it's a lot of fun. It's a little game that everyone plays. I'm sure everyone in that room is doing the same thing, right?
Absolutely.
And I had these same sales. I got the run of Civil War.
Yeah.
I've got I found Avengers Forever. Lots of Star Wars comics. Lots of good stuff.
Oh yeah, I was able to pick up a couple of the Brightest Day comics. So that's the event that takes place right after Darkest Night. And this was a time when DC was getting more gritty. So it started with Identity Crisis, which was a murder mystery about a spouse of one of the Justice League members. Highly recommend. One of the best comic book stories I've ever read. Then they parlayed that into Infinity Crisis, which was the Trinity at each other's throat. It was so intense and it was so gritty and raw, and I just loved it. And a lot of people said like this was DC's downfall, but to me, I love it. Like I love a good gritty story, something that has weight and heft to it, and these stories did. And so Brightest Day, I was able to pick up a lot of the issues from these sales. I'm only missing 4 out of the 25 issue run, so I'll still be looking for those. So hopefully they have the 4 issues, at the next sale that I've been looking for. So, I can't say enough good things about it, and the comics are in great condition, and, it has really been a good avenue for me to backfill my runs.
Yeah.
All right, so in this week's New to Nerd, we thought we would talk a little bit about DVDs and Blu-ray collecting. So I've recently hit a milestone, movie number 900.
Ooh, there's not many people that can say that, I don't think.
I don't know, you'd be surprised. Movie collecting has kind of like this niche market where they have their own Reddit page nowadays that I frequent, and it's kind of like record collecting back in the day or CD collecting, because as big box stores sell less and less DVDs and Blu-rays, they're getting harder to find.
Yeah, they definitely are.
I mean, and they're selling less too. I pulled up some stats for you. So let's see if you can wrap your head around this.
All right.
So last year, Age of Ultron, home video sales. So this is DVD and Blu-ray. $67 million.
What?
Yes. Age of Ultron, one of the highest grossing movies of all time. $67 million.
That's a lot of money.
Really?
Yeah. You don't think that's a lot?
No.
$67 million on Blu-ray and DVD sales?
Yeah.
I think that sounds like a lot to me.
Oh, well, you just wait.
Does that include like digital copies and all that kind of stuff?
I believe it does.
Oh, I thought you were leaning towards this is like insanely high. I think that sounds high to me.
All right.
I think that's bigger than opening weekend of most movies.
Yeah. But, okay, so Ant-Man. Now, given this has just come out recently, only what? I think it was November?
Yeah, just before Christmas.
Yeah. 41 million.
Okay.
So combined, 108 million. Not bad.
Not bad at all.
Okay. Let's reserve judgment. So let's take you back to a crazy little time I like to call 2013.
I feel like we should have that music.
The Wayne's World?
Yeah.
Just, you flash back, it's us from 3 years ago.
Yeah. Look identical. I had more hair in my head.
Man of Steel. A movie that had its issue with the public. People, were kind of decisive on it. $106 million in sales.
What?
Yes. So that's Blu-ray and DVD.
What's changed in the market?
I just think, availability. If you have the movie on Netflix.
I guess so. Interesting.
So I'll take you back a little bit further to a time when we may or may not have known each other. 2012, the first Avengers. Any guesses how much that was for home video sales?
Well, I'm extrapolating for the years. I'm going to say 210?
Close.
Yeah.
229.
Oh, wow. And that was a total guess. I have no idea what I'm talking about here.
Okay, and we'll take you back a little bit further. 2008, The Dark Knight. So that one made around Avengers money, a little bit less. So 2008, home video sales, The Dark Knight. Any guesses? Sorry, that made a little bit less in the box office. It made more at home video.
280 million?
315.
That's freaking insane.
$315 million.
I thought 67 was a lot.
So it just goes to show how far it's come in only a short period of time. 7 years, and we're getting movies that make about the same in box office terms, but making about 1/5 of what they used to make.
Interesting. So yeah, something's. I guess you probably correlate across to stuff like Netflix, Show Me. Mm-hmm. I don't know if digital copies are included in that or not. Like buying it off of Apple or whatever.
I'm not 100% sure. The website I use is by the numbers, so okay. I'd have to check with them.
It'd be interesting to see because that really almost seems like there's got to be some sort of cross point where everything goes a lot more digital than actual, if we're just talking physical copies. Mm-hmm. In 2008, I definitely wasn't buying, I don't know if anyone was buying digital movies. No. And nowadays, I rent most of my movies off Apple. Yeah. I've never bought one because I don't like, we've talked about this before, I don't like buying a $24, piece of digital media without having some sort of physical copy, but...
Yeah. So, it just goes to show the market is definitely down, and, that's why the stores are selling less and less. So I'm here to try to promote, the DVD and Blu-ray culture. Because I'm never going to have a library of books besides comic books. So, I like to think of my movies as kind of my library. You got to be careful when you buy. So right now, Valentine's Day is coming around. Tim, you got your Valentine's Day present for your wife?
Oh, yeah. Oh, she likes tickets to Deadpool.
It's not you dressed up as Deadpool, is it?
No, not quite. But they did have a billboard that sold this as a romantic comedy.
Yeah. So, you plan around the holidays. So
actually, my wife's in Vegas this weekend.
You're in trouble, man.
What? How am I in trouble? She's on a boondoggle to Vegas.
So it's so you're gonna go see Deadpool this weekend?
I'm gonna take my daughter with me.
Nice. Baby's first movie.
Oh, that would be a great one.
She'll never forget it.
She'll never remember it.
So every time there's a holiday and there's movies around that holiday, like Valentine's Day, Thanksgiving, you got Christmas, you got April Fool's Day, you got New Year's Eve. There's certain movies that come around those holidays. I mean, there's a little less for New Year's Eve or April Fool's.
Were you naming movies or holidays?
As a horror fan, those are actually horror movies. They went through this huge phase back in, I think, the 70s or 80s where after Friday the 13th, they tried to make movies after holidays. So there's literally an April Fool's Day movie. There's a Happy Birthday to Me. There's a New Year's Evil, Halloween. Tons. There's
also that stretch of movies they would fill the cast with 40 famous people. Yeah, I think there was a Valentine's Day, New Year's Eve, and all that kind of stuff too, right?
That craze kind of died down. You don't see that anymore.
No, not
at all. Thank God. So, whenever they have the holidays, pick up your romance movies this weekend, pick up your horror movies near Halloween. Stick by those because they're always on sale. I typically also like to buy movies when they first come out. You also get, special packaging like Steelbook or the slipcase, which has become really popular for me, where it's just like a little bit of cardboard, but it may be embossed, or it looks really cool. So if I have the choice between the two and they're the same price, I'm going with the slipcase.
Do you collect variant covers?
For movies?
Yes.
I typically don't. I typically just get the slipcase or the steel case.
Because you get, sometimes like Walmart will have a cover.
Yes.
And Best Buy has a cover, and then Amazon has a cover, and then there's 3 character covers. Yeah. And there's like 8 of the same, it's the same movie. Yeah. But you have different covers. So I know there's people out there that collect the different variations of it. So like Marvel movies are off of this. Like Winter Soldier had 5 or 6. Age of Ultron probably had like 8 different covers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
This is a whole new world.
Yeah. It's the same movie, though. It's just a different piece of paper they've slid into the plastic blue thing.
No, Tim, it's a completely different thing.
I appreciate that.
The cover art kind of sells the movie because a lot of times it is the movie poster itself.
Yeah.
So I do like that. I typically go with that. But I typically just go by price. To me, I'm going to watch the movie. It's going to be the same movie. And be honest, the only thing you really look at is just the spine. Yeah. So maybe they should start like making really like attractive spines to like start selling more copies.
Do all of your spines have to match? Like for a single franchise or whatever? Like I've got a couple movies that line up, and when you look at them and they have either the writing's different, and then sometimes they're numbered or whatever. Yeah. And I like having that full look across.
Oh, me too. But sometimes you'll get it, and then after years of collecting, you just give up and just get the ones, and you look at it, and it shouldn't bother you, but it kind of does. That's just like how anal I am with it. I'm just like, oh, that Terminator there.
I've got to replace it.
Yeah. And then I'm like, well, I could replace it, or I could buy a brand new movie. So I go with the brand new one.
Yeah, fair enough. So what are your thoughts on buying collections versus individual movies? So a lot of movies sometimes, or even collections of movies with something collectible attached to it. So not too long ago, they re-released Jurassic Park, and it had kind of this really neat T-Rex bashing through the rest of the park. Yeah, that's
really cool.
So it's right over there.
Making residence at the Nerd Room.
Exactly. And then Phase 1 had the Tesseract case, and there's a Dark Knight Rises that had kind of the smashed Batman face. But you're often paying 2 or 3 times as much for the movie to get like these collector things, and sometimes I get sucked into them. But I'm passing on the Phase 2 because it's like $250.
Yeah, it's
and all you're getting is the orb or whatever, right?
Yeah.
The original one was $125, I think, because it doesn't have the 3D Blu-rays in it.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on kind of collecting? Do you grab stuff like that, or are you just purely you want the Blu-ray or DVD case or whatever?
I typically, if I already own the movie and then they re-release a special edition, I won't go out and rebuy it. Yeah. Because to me, what's the point, right? Yeah. But if they have a movie that I have on DVD and then they re-release it on Blu-ray or something, I'd be more tempted to buy it, but I still would have to be something really impactful for me to go back and get it. But, as we talk about less and less physical copies of movies being sold, that just makes them more and more collectible, in my opinion. So, 20 years from now, when no one's buying DVDs or Blu-rays, maybe that special edition of Age of Ultron might be worth something.
You're going to have to stock up on Blu-ray players, just in case.
I think they'll always have them. I mean, you could still get VHS players.
Can you?
I don't know. I think you can.
I don't know. One person has a VHS player. That's my dad.
I actually found the VHS tape at, I think it was Zeller's when I was still around, and The Source, I think, had a VHS tape for some reason.
Really?
Yeah, you could still buy them.
Zeller's doesn't exist in Canada anymore. It's been gone for years.
Not in this mind, it hasn't. What have I been going into the last 5 years?
It was just yesterday.
Oh my god, I went into that old lady's house.
You've obviously found some sort of wormhole or time warp or something. Yeah. Still buying cheap VHSs. I used to go, I think when I was in university, I'd go and be like, oh, these are like $3 VHSs, and buy them up, right? Kind of at the end of VHS time. And now I have no idea where they are. In a garbage pit somewhere.
They're actually a lot cheaper. I find movies, the price has gone down in the last 20 years. VHSs used to be about, $20-25, and that's 20 years ago. Nowadays, a new movie comes out on Blu-ray, it's about $20. And
except for like when you're looking at like the 3D Blu-ray, they're like $40. I've seen
those ones are expensive. Yeah. I haven't got into that, and I haven't gotten into 4K yet. I don't really know. I don't see a need for it, but if that does take off, then probably That would be I wouldn't replace my Blu-rays and DVDs because I think 4K will play in a Blu-ray player. I don't think you need a special one for it. Another debate is, should I buy this on DVD or buy it on Blu-ray?
Blu-ray all the time.
See, that is a gray area. And let me tell you why, my friend. If you have a movie that's like a courtroom drama or something from the 70s where Blu-ray or DVDs haven't even been invented yet, to me the DVD quality is just as good. You know, if you're watching 12 Angry Men, just get the DVD. I mean, sometimes you get the Blu-ray. Like, I watched the first Bond on Blu-ray, and it was so clear, it almost took away from it because it's supposed to have this nostalgic feel to it. Because the movie takes place in the 60s. And so you want a little bit of grain. You know, like if you're watching an 80s slasher flick, you got to go with the DVD because, you know, those things were out on VHSs, so you'd get the lines through it and you'd have to adjust the tracking, and you know, you need like the grittiness to it.
You're living in a far off world.
Tim, how many DVDs do you have if you were to count them?
Maybe in the realm of 100 or so.
What's the last one you bought?
Ant-Man.
Okay, that's a good one. Are you gonna get Star Wars?
Oh yeah, well I got Ant-Man and I got the Star Wars Steelbooks.
You got Star Wars. I'm looking right here on VHS, Steelbook.
VHS again.
VHS again. Do you have it on DVD?
Yeah.
Do you have it on 8-track?
No, I'd also have the Blu-ray Saga collection as well.
Wow, that's impressive.
So I've like 5 or 6 times.
Do you ever watch them like back to back to back on the different like formats just to see what the variation would be?
Well, it's interesting you say that because the VHS ones are from pre-special edition. Oh. So they're a different copy than the special edition.
Yeah.
The Blu-rays are a different copy, and then I think the Steelbooks are either equivalent to the Blu-rays or they're updated again. So they've all been tweaked. So they're all different variations of the same movies.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's very neat. You're going to have it on like 8mm film reel too?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That'd be sick, actually. I wonder if you can even get those.
Probably not.
Probably cost a pretty penny. So what do you think, you know, given some of these numbers, Star Wars broke all box office records. Home video prediction. What do you think it's going to make with the declining market? Or is Star Wars going to buck the trend once again and come out victorious?
170 million.
Wow. I think that'd be... I mean, not that it needs it, but back in the day, you know, a movie like Green Lantern, where it had a box office bomb, would sell really well on DVD or Blu-ray.
Yeah. Maybe
100, 150 million, or 170 like you said. And then Warner Bros. Would look at that and be like, all right, well... You know, the first one wasn't very good, but if we get a new director, a new screenwriter, we'll make the sequel.
Exactly.
Now with DVD sales low, movie bombs, that's all they got is the box office because Netflix just pays once for it. You could get it like in Canada on Shaw or Telus on demand. Other than that, you know, if you're not buying it, you know, if there's a movie that you really liked, but maybe the box office return wasn't what you had hoped, buy it on DVD, buy it on Blu-ray, you know? Show the studios that you're willing to support it and... who knows? You might get a sequel.
Some of these movies have gotten sequels because of the Blu-ray or DVD sales.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I know.
Let's just make one up.
Yeah.
X-Men 3.
I think that got a sequel because it made a whole bunch of money.
Yeah. Up until I think Days of Future Past, it was the highest box office grossing film of the X-Men franchise.
I don't doubt that.
So that's all I have for New to Nerd DVD and Blu-ray collecting. Hopefully you learned a little bit. Hopefully you have appreciation for the craft. And, you know, if you have a collection out there, send me a tweet, send me an email. I'd love to know what your collection is and love to see it.
All right. It's time to get into our contest of champions.
Yes. They say it with such vigor. You know, you say it like Thor, Odin's son, announcing his return from Godenheim. Is that a thing?
Jotunheim.
Oh, yes. What did I call it? Godenheim?
That was a laugh. So, as one of the biggest sports spectacles comes to an end, here at the Nerd Room, ours is just beginning.
Yes.
Now, we're about to kick off here what we're calling our contest of champions. So, it's, you know, this epic head-to-head battle between 100 comic book movies that we've put together over the last little while. And what we're doing is driving towards crowning one ultimate champion.
One ring to rule them all.
And in this episode, we're going to be discussing the first round of it. Mm-hmm. And you guys are going to be able to follow us online and see how we're ranking these things. And the interesting thing about this, kind of the way that we've set it up, is that it's going to give us some very interesting matchups along the way. So we can see some really good movies eliminated early on if they're put up against, movies that are just slightly better.
Absolutely. We want to stir debate in this one.
Exactly.
So in the first round, because there's a lot of matchups, we thought we would just restrict it to Tim, Troy, and myself. And then as we get into the second round and the matchups get a little bit harder and a little bit tighter and a little bit more, I guess, closer, yeah? We would ask for your help. So how it's going to work, Tim, do you want to explain the format? Because you came up with this. It's a brilliant system. I wish I could take credit for it. I take credit for a lot of things, but I can't take credit for this, unfortunately.
All right, so the first round here, how we crown a victor, or coming out of kind of the initial matchups, is you're going to need basically 2 votes to pass a post. So we'll have 3 of us voting. 2 votes gets you into the next round. And essentially what that does is that puts you into the second round, which we have a whole bunch of buys in, right? Mm-hmm. And the buys, we'll go check out the website that we've got set up. It's called challenge.com. So it's challonge.com/the nerd room. And you can see the whole bracket set up there.
And we'll tweet out the link and it'll be in the description as well.
Definitely. And so for the first round there, and the first round is really composed of a lot of, older and I'm going to say lower quality lower quality movies. And the second round is kind of your maybe more recent, some of your Avengers, your Guardians, your Dark Knights and stuff like that, going forward. So those all got a first round bye because we know that a lot of those movies are just going to kind of wipe the floor with the first round movies that we're seeing here. And we've got, like I said, we've got 100 movies here. So we've got everything from Howard the Duck to
classic,
to The Shadow, to Watchmen, and up into your Guardians and Ninja Turtles and all that kind of stuff. And that 100 isn't all of the movies, but we thought 100 is a nice round number. Mm-hmm. We kind of chose everything. We kind of rearranged some of the matchups and seeded some of this so that we got the buys that we thought were appropriate. But as well, we kind of avoided some of the matchups where we're getting a Wolverine versus an X-Men Last Stand. So we've tried to separate things out so that we kind of had a much wider spectrum of movies battling each other.
No, absolutely. And it's kind of interesting you say because you can see the progression of the comic book movie where in the 70s and 80s maybe it wasn't taken as serious, but nowadays you can see that they're throwing the money into it and you can definitely tell the quality has definitely improved. Exactly.
You're going to really see that, particularly in the next couple rounds and that. And so our first round here, it's composed of 36 total matchups.
Okay.
What we're going to look at here is 5 of those matchups. And then we're going to, toss the other remaining movies or remaining matchups up onto the website. And then you'll be able to see that. And then in subsequent podcasts, we're going to discuss through some of these. And then eventually in March, we're going to get to, the end of the tournament and essentially crown our winner. I'll compile all 3 of our votes for this first round, and I'll stick that up on a website too, or I'll link it on Twitter or whatever, just to make sure that everyone can see where everyone's voting, so you can see where the debates are, where we were unanimous, and where there was maybe a little more discrepancy in our voting.
I think we should get an accounting firm to tally the votes.
Yes,
like they do in the Oscars.
I gotta give out a shout out to Troy right now. He just tweeted us, "What up, Hall H? Go Team Cap!"
What, Troy? Come back to the Iron Man side. Not that you were ever on the Iron Man side, but come to the Iron Man side. We got bigger and badder toys than Captain America. Captain America's toys is probably just like a ball on a string. Iron Man will give you a Ferrari, man.
All right, man. So we're going to be communicating Troy's votes here as far as the 5 movies we're going to talk about tonight.
Okay.
So going into this, I'm going to rank these and determine a winner through 4 main factors.
Okay.
One is how successful the source material was adapted. Mm-hmm. From my personal opinion, I haven't read everything, and that really looks at both the story and the characters.
Yeah.
My overall level of enjoyment, how I felt, watching this, and then fitting into that also is the rewatchability of the movie.
That's a big one.
Yes. Do I go back and watch these things? If one was on the TV and the other was on at the exact same time, which one would I flick on? Mm-hmm. And then also, and this isn't going to weigh in as heavily as the others, but nostalgia.
Right.
How I remember feeling watching this movie for the first time in the movie theater, or for the first time on TV, or for the first time on Blu-ray or whatever. Yeah. And I'm going to take that into consideration when I can't really decide between the top 3 factors I have. I'm going to really let my nostalgia show through and push some of these movies, which may be somewhat controversial because, I might be pushing movies that their quality isn't great, but how I really felt watching them. Really makes the big difference here. So I think that's the fun part about this is that we're going to be getting some, crazy matchups and stuff like that, and, differing opinions. And, I think from day to day too, you'd probably rank these differently. So it's going to be cool to see how this actually turns out.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And, for the first round, a lot of the movies aren't groundbreaking. Let's just say that for some of them. But when I did my ranking for the matchups, I tended to go more with which one I would want to see again. And, give a lot of weight to the performances of the actors and a lot of the scenes. Because sometimes, if you have 2 movies and they're both kind of, average to poor and, you didn't really love the films, but one film had a couple of good scenes in it that you're like, yeah, that was an excellent scene. I kind of give more weights to those ones. So, should we start with the first battle in the Contest of Champions? Da 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 da. Let 'em fight. Music. Mortal Kombat. Fight.
All right, so the first one we're doing, Men in Black, 1997, number 1.
Yep.
Versus Fantastic Four, 2015.
This was one of the easiest ones I've ever done. Like, if you asked me which one would you rather eat, a rock or a blizzard, I'm choosing. This is how black and white this one was for me. Okay, clearly, no, I'm just kidding. It wasn't Fantastic Four. Men in Black. You got the great Will Smith. You got Tommy Lee Jones. It's fun. This was in Will Smith's heyday. This is when he could do no wrong. He was still the Fresh Prince.
Yeah, this was in the Jerry Bruckheimer era, as I referred to it. You're getting your Air Force One, Men in Black, Con Air, Face Off. Great time for action movies.
Absolutely. And you had the great tie-in song.
Oh, God.
Will Smith. Come on.
Yeah.
Here comes the Men in Black.
The one that you remember.
Boom, boom, Galaxy Defender.
Oh, that was epic.
I'm not saying we should be on Canadian Idol, but...
We shouldn't be on Canadian Idol. No, this is the best one of the franchise, right?
I think so. I mean,
definitely.
The third one was really good.
It didn't. I don't know. For me, it just never. They never had the same. They never were able to capture the same vibe and feeling this one had. I don't think.
Yeah, the second one had Michael Jackson.
Yeah. No, I've never read the comics or anything like that, so I don't know how far it strays from the actual source material. And so contextually there, I can't really make a comment. Yeah. But again, this is one that nostalgia is really going to kick in for me.
Oh, yeah. Is it safe to say Men in Black?
Yeah, I think it's safe to say. We've talked about Fantastic Four 2015 in our year-end review, so we won't belabor any sort of discussion. But yes, it was a highly flawed movie. It suffered from reshooting. It suffered from rewrites. It suffered for a vision that never really materialized from a director that didn't have the ability to produce something that a studio was happy with. Mm-hmm. There are bright spots in it. Yeah, Michael B. Jordan. I like that they took some cues from the Ultimate Universe and took some, cool. The Negative Zone stuff. But in doing that, they strayed so far from it. They tried to take from the source material, but then just ended up on a different path and ended up destroying one of the Marvel's greatest villains in the process.
It's true. Did what Victor Von Doom could not do. Destroyed the Fantastic Four.
Yeah. So yes, Men in Black.
Oh, sorry. Victor Dumashev.
Yeah. That was cleverly edited out of the movie.
Yeah, Men in Black, 100 times out of 100. If I watch Men in Black 10 times in a row, and then someone came to me and said, which movie do you want to watch, Men in Black or Fantastic Four 2015? I'd probably pick Men in Black for the 11th straight time.
And we have unanimous vote across the nerd room, as Troy has also taken Men in Black over Fantastic Four 2015.
There you go. All right, should we go on to number 2, Contest of Champions. Pew, pew, pew. We need some sound effects.
Yes, we do. Okay, number 2, X-Men: The Last Stand.
Yep.
Versus Green Lantern.
Oh, X-Men: The Last Stand.
2 movies that are often regarded amongst the worst.
Yes.
Of the past few years, especially as we've gotten this huge uplift in quality in that same time.
What I went with was X-Men: The Last Stand didn't kill the franchise.
No.
Green Lantern killed Green Lantern.
Giant stake through the heart.
Yeah. X-Men was able to recover from it, but saying that, X-Men The Last Stand was far more disappointing because my expectations were sky high.
Yeah.
You're coming off X2, quite possibly the greatest X-Men movie of all time. It's up there.
Oh, 100% agree with that.
Yeah. And they turned it from this great story about characters into an action fest.
Yeah, it almost felt rushed.
Yeah.
Like they were like, we have to get all these mutants in to this single frame, have this big epic battle. But it never really like came off like it was done well, right?
Yeah. Some of the scenes were cool. Like the fighting scenes had some weight to them, and seeing Kelsey Grammer as Beast was kind of cool.
Yeah, I did like that too.
Yeah. Like it does have some redeeming qualities that you actually quite enjoy.
Yeah, you know, the one thing though that I had a real issue with is, so it was attempting to adapt the Dark Phoenix saga, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the X-Men's greatest stories.
If not the greatest.
Yeah. And it fell so far from that. You know, it never captured the essence of not only that story, but of also the continuity that was built before that.
Yeah.
You know, we had the elimination of Cyclops early on.
Yeah.
Jean Grey as well. Professor X is gone.
Yeah.
You know, Wolverine carried this movie, and then we got kind of a half-assed Juggernaut. And Kitty Pryde, you know, Ellen Page was all right, but Kitty Pryde's not one of my favorite X-Men, and I just don't like her portrayal. So, you know, this movie, you know, there are some good points, and I think we should try to focus on some of the good points and let them shine through as far as making our decision. But like you said, you know, in comparison to the Green Lantern,
oh my goodness,
CGI fest.
Oh, like what was going on with his costume even? Like,
I don't know. And the best part is they make reference to that in Deadpool.
Yeah.
Right? Don't make it a green costume.
Yeah. So there's something that good that came out of it. I thought the performance of Sinestro was pretty good.
Yeah, and there are some good. Yeah, Sinestro is one of the highlights of it.
Yeah.
And some of the space stuff is kind of fun, but why wasn't this all in space?
Yes, this should have been Guardians.
Yeah, exactly. This could have been DC's Guardians.
Yeah, and then they let it fall flat. And the guy who directed this directed Casino Royale. So, you know, I don't really think of James Bond as a space guy. I mean, I know we had Moonraker, but Green Lantern is space. So someone like J.J. Abrams or someone like that, back in whenever this movie came out, 2010, I think, or 2011, that's who should have been directing it.
Yeah.
Not the guy who did Bond. The guy who did Bond should have been directing a Cap movie or Black Panther movie, something like that, where it's more grounded, more brawler, beat 'em up types. You know, if you're in space, you got to get a guy who's space. One guy I think that would do amazing with this, Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
With his visuals, if you give him Green Lantern, that could be his guy. Because the stuff on Krypton was really cool in Man of Steel. So if you give him that with green light, I'm there.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
So when it comes time to voting, I'm going with X-Men.
As am I.
Yeah, and did Troy make it a 3 for 3?
He did indeed.
Wow, look at that. Great minds think alike.
Maybe these are just so obvious.
Yeah. Well, you know, they're good debates because, you know, some people may go with Green Lantern just because of the fact maybe they're big X-Men fans and they thought what they did with the characters was sacrilege. Kind of like how I feel with Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we move on to the next?
Battle number 3. We got Batman Forever versus the Incredible Hulk.
Big use of green. Do you go with the Riddler? Jim Carrey's the Riddler or Edward Norton's Hulk?
Yes, it's interesting because, you know, this Hulk isn't the best portrayal of Hulk in the MCU or of any Hulk movies we have, right? You know, I leave that to Avengers.
Yeah.
But it is a solid entry into the MCU.
I liked it, you know?
You know, and it's a shame that we don't have that continuity through with Edward Norton continuing as Banner, but I think that Ruffalo does a better job as Banner as well.
Do you think Norton's regretting that right now?
Oh,
He's
probably.
like, I could have some of that sweet Avengers cash.
Big time.
Yeah.
You know, it was a well-executed origin story, I think.
Yeah.
You know, the fights were great with Abomination. And what I like now is that they're pulling this movie back into the limelight because it seemed like they shied away from it for a long time. They make really subtle references to things that happen in Harlem and stuff like that. But now with General Ross appearing in Civil War, you know, they're really bringing this kind of back around, you know, tying the continuity a bit tighter around that movie. And I like seeing that. And the end credits scene at this, right?
Oh,
yeah. Iron Man shows up.
Yeah.
How great was that? That was, I think, the first MCU end credits scene I saw.
I think so, because what was an Iron Man? I don't think there was one.
Oh, it was Nick Fury.
Oh, yeah. Oh, duh.
But this was the first one I personally saw.
Yeah.
And so, that tied to me. I was like, oh, this is so cool.
Yeah.
And, that was great for me. And it is a good, solid movie.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I mean, it has some flaws.
Definitely.
But compared to Batman Forever has become unwatchable to me. I mean, as a kid, I loved it, but it doesn't quite know if it wants to be serious or if it wants to be comedic, and it's pretty comedic, but then it goes on and tells a little bit about Bruce Wayne's origins, and it's so slow. To me, this is the most unwatchable Batman film. I prefer Batman and Robin over Batman Forever.
Interesting. I love the action. This came out at a time when, I was like, yes, I'll eat up the underwater Batman, the space Batman. They had all tied into this movie that had no relevance to it. But this was really the first big step towards moving away from the Burtonverse, right?
Yeah.
And a step towards the campy side of Batman.
Yeah.
And Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee were turned up to 11 on this, right?
Oh, I don't even know what they were on, but Tommy Lee Jones with his Two-Face looked like he had bubblegum stuck to his face. Like, what were they going?
I don't know where they're going for this. This seems like something where these are villains that are plucked out of Batman 66 to some degree, right?
Absolutely.
But Batman 66 was structured around campiness, right?
Yeah.
This they've taken from something that was totally darker and moved into something that was completely different. Yeah. They had to change a director and all that kind of stuff, but I think it really took it down a few notches, because we have the original Batman is one of the ones that gets a bye here in our first round.
That was groundbreaking.
Yeah, it was. And it's a fantastic movie, and I'll be interested to see how far it goes in the tournament here.
The one thing I will say about Batman Forever is it was the first and only time we've had a Robin origin in the movies. And I thought that was actually done pretty well.
Yeah.
Minus Tommy Lee Jones' campiness. I mean, I don't remember in the comics who kills Dick Grayson's parents. I don't think it's Two-Face. It could be. But, some of the scenes, like there's a scene where the guy throws acid on Two-Face's face when he's just Harvey Dent, and he just puts a piece of paper covering half his face, and so the paper is enough to not melt or destroy his face, and then the other side gets horribly disfigured.
Yeah,
just ridiculous. No way in any universe am I voting for Batman Forever. Every vote goes to Incredible Hulk.
I have to agree with you there. Incredible Hulk takes this one for me.
Yeah,
no question. But I do have one more question.
Okay,
why did Bruce Wayne adopt a man in his late 20s?
Yeah, doesn't make any sense, right? Maybe they're skirting around the issue that there could have been a love interest. I mean, he has Nicole Kidman, who is attracted to him, but that doesn't go anywhere. And then in the next movie, she's gone, but Dick Grayson's still there. It's not out of the realm of possibility. I'm just saying.
Well, that gets a clean sweep from the nerd room again.
Wow, this is going pretty easy.
Yeah, I think this next one, I'm interested here, because I think this might be a little more, not so much controversial, but maybe we'll get some opposing sides on this.
Okay.
So our next movie up for our Contest of Champion battle is Amazing Spider-Man 2 versus X-Men Origins Wolverine. Thoughts?
Initially, my thought was, can I vote for none? Can I just bar them both? But, thinking back now, I saw them both in theaters on opening weekend, and I was far more entertained in Amazing Spider-Man 2. To me, that film had some fun to it. It is campy as all hell, but X-Men Origins Wolverine, I had no idea what they were going when they made that film. And it's Hugh Jackman, so he's been around. That was, his fourth X-Men movie?
Yeah.
That could have killed it. That could have killed the franchise. It was just awful. Deadpool has his mouth sewn shut, and he's the merc with the mouth.
Yeah, they really went sideways with that character.
I mean, Amazing Spider-Man 2 is no Picasso, but it's at least, I don't know. I don't know much art, but it's at least Andy Warhol's a genius. I don't know. It's some other artist who's kind of there. Okay, so the Wolverine, the X-Men Origins Wolverine is like a painting you see at the men's room, and the Amazing Spider-Man 2 is like a painting you'd see at a hotel lobby.
Again with the metaphors. Just cranking them out. No. The chemistry between Emma Roberts and Andrew Garfield and their portrayal of the characters Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy is fantastic. That's one of the real highlights for that movie for me. Yeah. And that's why I'm really shocked that they actually went through with the death of Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
Is that the best part of that movie was their chemistry. I didn't think they were going to down that path. The whole movie, I was like, this movie, there's lots of flaws here. We have basically Oscorp being responsible for all the villains in the Spider-Man universe.
Right.
They didn't do anything with Harry Osborn. They didn't do anything with Norman Osborn that made any sense to me. But they did stick with some of the source material. But it's real telling to me when my favorite parts of a Spider-Man movie are the parts when Spider-Man isn't in costume.
Yeah. You brought up an interesting point. Garfield and Emma Stone, that may be the most, chemistry in a comic book film in terms of the love interest. That was excellent. I mean, say what you will about everything else that came after and before that, but the chemistry really sold it for me. And if it didn't have that, it would have no redeeming qualities, but it does have that, so...
Yep. But now, my opinion on Wolverine Origins differs slightly from yours.
All right, let's hear it.
I absolutely love the opening scene.
That was excellent. I mean, when they're battling through all the wars.
So good. And I love that, you're following Logan and what I'm going to say, Victor! When you're following them through time.
Yeah.
World War II, World War I, Civil War, all that, Vietnam. That's one of my most favorite opening scenes to a comic book movie.
But they're Canadian, so why are they fighting for the U.S.?
Because they're just fighting in the wars, man. It was a great way to start a movie.
Yeah.
But it was all downhill from there.
Yeah.
And, there seemed to be kind of this setting up of this kind of badass team, maybe an X-Force-like team. We had Deadpool and a couple other characters in there.
Will.i.am.
Yeah, exactly. But it really strays a lot from any sort of source material. You get the bone claws, and you get Victor Creed being portrayed as Logan's brother. And the one thing that really bothered me here is they ignored all the continuity that was built in the previous 3 X-Men films. Yeah. So this was supposed to be, I think, some sort of, prequel or whatever, but we've completely ignored what they've built in the previous 3.
Yeah.
But really, I love seeing Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
Yeah.
That guy embraces, he embodies this role. And for me, even when the story's not working, even when even the dialogue isn't working, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine is working for me.
Is it just me, or how come as he ages, he's getting more buff?
I don't know. Go look at him in X-Men 1.
He looks like a twig.
Yeah, and now look at him 15 years later.
He looks like The Rock. Like, how does that happen?
Oh, it's insane. All right, man. Lay down your vote.
All right, I'm going Amazing Spider-Man 2. Give me Jamie Foxx as Electro.
All right. Well, I'm going the other side of that fence. I'm going X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Wow, our first disagreement. What are we going to do?
I don't know.
It's not even a Marvel vs. DC thing this time.
All right, so we're going to have to call in our third vote. We're going to have to call in Troy's vote here.
Victor
Let me see
what
he's got. And the winner of this battle is Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yes! I mean, I'm impartial citizen of this, so whatever happened won is the best. But no, I mean, to me, I just think Amazing Spider-Man 2 had just a little bit more going for it. It was a tough battle, but in the end, good triumphed over evil. And for another day, the world was just a little bit safer.
All right, so for our fifth and final battle for this episode, we're going to be talking Spider-Man 3 versus Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Man, talk about clash of champions in this one.
Yeah, it's two movies that ended up being the final chapters in their respective franchises.
That's true. Actually, I never thought of that.
Both bound for reboots.
Yes, and to varying degrees of success, from average to craptacular. So, let's start with the webhead. Yeah. Spider-Man 3. What did you think of this movie? I mean, again, trilogies, the third one is always the hardest to write. And this is, to me, the X-Men 3 last stand of the Spider-Man universe. You're coming off the best film in the franchise, Spider-Man 2. And, studios are saying, give me more villains, give me more action, give me more. The budget gets ramped up.
Yeah.
And to me, it was a miss.
They didn't film this. They didn't write this and they didn't portray the characters in here as if it was the end of a trilogy.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't wrapping up stories. They weren't closing out arcs. They were ramping this up for a fourth, a fifth, a sixth movie, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They were on the gravy train at this point, and you know the film suffered from that.
Yeah.
We had Venom shoehorned in, the redemption story of Harry Osborn.
He looked like a 90s like extreme speed skater or something. Like, what was going on with his outfit? Like, just be the original Green Goblin. That would have been cooler.
Yeah, it would have been. You know, and I'm going to say one thing here.
Okay.
Spider dance.
Oh my. And then he like hits Mary Jane Watson. I was like, what the heck is this? I'm not going to see like
hair fell in front of his face, and all of a sudden he was emo Peter Parker.
Oh my. I mean, the nights I've spent awake thinking of all the things wrong with this movie are far and few between, but there have been a couple.
Yeah. This is difficult for us too, because we try to be relatively optimistic about things, but sometimes it's so hard.
I mean, it has some redeeming qualities, like the Sandman. I liked his story.
Exactly. The Sandman was one of the best parts. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He was good. The actor that portrayed him was good. The origin of him was pretty cool. The overall CG and graphics of that was neat. Yeah. And I even like some of the stuff as far as visually with Venom.
Venom looked awesome. I got the action figure. But, you know, as you said, they were ramping up for Spider-Man 4. Mm-hmm. So maybe this was just planting the seed of Venom. And then he would have been the big baddie in number 4.
Yeah, I think this was also put in at the studio's demand.
Yeah.
I think Sam Raimi just had given up by this point.
Yeah, absolutely. He's like, all right, fine. You want it? Give me $50 million. I'll do whatever you want. Yeah. Still made a ton of money. Like, it almost made $1 billion.
Did it?
Yeah, it made a ton of money.
Holy man.
I think it was like 900 or 800 million? I could be wrong.
Jeez.
Yeah. So, I mean, audiences, you know, kind of, you know, it's decisive. This has a higher critic rating than Man of Steel.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, you were just spending a whole bunch of trivia I had no idea anything about.
All this paper, man.
So what do you think of Fantastic Four 2? You know, this is something that is often panned by the community.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it.
No, to me, it's the best Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah, look at you got Chris Evans and Michael Chiklis.
Yeah,
you know, two great portrayals of you know Johnny Storm and the Thing. We got the inclusion of Silver Surfer.
He's
and him
cool.
Really being kind of this herald of Galactus.
Yeah,
you know, voiced by Morpheus.
Yeah, I liked him.
Yeah, other than when he fell off the board. When he fell off the board, I got kind of weird. It's just Jack guy painted in silver. But when he's on the board, he's CG and stuff like that. Great, and I love Silver Surfer, and I thought that was pretty cool to have him in there.
Yeah, I thought it was a fun movie. It didn't take itself too seriously. It was definitely a step up from the first Fantastic Four. Yeah, and definitely a step up from the new one that came out.
Exactly. You know, and this to me has a Fantastic Four vibe to it. You know,
yeah.
You know, and this really is taking a lot of cues from the early comics.
Yeah.
Which the Fantastic Four, you know, it was somewhat campy, right?
Yeah.
And the cool thing here that they built in a bit was the Fantastic Four is kind of one of the first teams in the comics to show the team members arguing with each other, disagreeing with each other.
Right.
And they brought some of that into here, and they had the wedding and Stan Lee trying to get in.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at the comics, Stan Lee is in at the wedding. And
really?
Yeah.
That's neat. And they did show the wedding. That's true, too. Like, Sue and, what's his name? Mr.
Reed?
Fantastic. Yeah, Reed. They actually have a relationship in this movie. It kind of feels forced at times, but at least it's something.
Yeah, and they do show him kind of disconnecting from reality and focusing so much on his work, which is something, again, that's pulled from the comic books.
Yeah, and sadly, it's the best portrayal of Doom.
Yeah. His costume is pretty cool in this movie, right?
I actually like that costume, opposed to the other one, which looked like a CPU unit or something. Yeah.
Man with melted garbage bags on him.
I wish that would have been cooler. Like, where did he get the outfit? He's in this, like, space thing. Like, did he just make it, or...?
I think something melts into him. I don't know, man. We're way past that.
Yeah, Fantastic
We're on to bigger and better Fantastic Four movies.
So, should we say our vote on 3? Or maybe 4?
Oh. You go first.
All right. Fantastic Four. For me, you know, I was less disappointed with it. I went in with 0 expectations. Had a couple cool scenes. I mean, Galactus, that really bugged me. He was just a cloud. But I think that was the ultimate version. Isn't he a cloud in some version?
He's a cloud, and he's more of like a techno cloud sort of thing in the Ultimate Universe.
He's like the Apple
It's
iCloud.
Galactus.
Oh yeah. But I don't know. I mean, it doesn't take itself too seriously. Spider-Man 3 just had one too many flaws for me, and there's better Spider-Man films out there, whereas there's no better Fantastic Four film out there. So for me, Fantastic Four.
Interestingly enough, and we might have to get Troy to explain this to us.
Okay.
He went Spider-Man 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, he is a big Spider-Man fan.
True.
I mean, if someone... Yeah, I could see it maybe... I don't know. I'd be interested to hear next episode. Ask him.
I will. We'll get this clarified.
Yeah.
Troy, we're coming for you. No, but I'm going to break this tie here. I'm following the Fantastic Four too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's. I think it's a far superior movie to Spider-Man 3.
Yeah,
And,
I'm trying to think of an analogy, but I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah. If I turn both of these on, and I see both these on TV, Fantastic Four is going on for sure.
Yeah, it's at least watchable.
Yeah.
Whereas if I watch Spider-Man 3, I'm just constantly reminded of what could have been.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, which is fair or unfair. I mean, if Spider-Man 3 was just the only film in the series, I may have won Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
But I'm just constantly frustrated with some of the decisions that were made. Let's just leave it at that. And speak of Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer.
There you go.
So, we're having so much fun here. Let's do a 6.
Okay, let's do one more.
Let's keep the gravy train rolling.
All right, here we go. What do you want to do? Pick one.
All right. So for the 6th bonus matchup, let's include Ben Affleck, Bennifer, Daredevil versus Ang Lee's Hulk.
Ooh.
This is a tight one.
Yes, it is.
Let's talk a little bit about Ang Lee's Hulk.
All right.
So this was the first film that Marvel had put out, like a Marvel character, coming in a long time, is it? Like not including X-Men and Spider-Man. This was... Hulk came first, was it? Or did it come after X-Men?
I can't exactly remember when Hulk came out, but it was the first kind of big CG go at the Hulk.
Yeah.
And it was produced by Universal and Marvel, I believe. It was part of this kind of, when Marvel was selling all its characters, Hulk went to Universal and they produced this movie, which, in itself, it broke some ground with the CG, I guess. But have you ever gone back and rewatched it?
Oh, I tried to. I couldn't get through it. I've watched it several times, and I think I'm only halfway through. Just the use of the comic book swipes, the cartoonishly green Hulk, the fact that he fights a giant poodle.
Yeah, Hulk poodle.
Just, I don't know, like Ang Lee, he's done some good stuff, Oscar quality stuff. Maybe he didn't take the source material seriously. I heard reading online that, CGI company actually made Hulk more realistic, kind of like he is in Incredible Hulk. Yeah. And Ang Lee said, you know what? No, I want him bigger and brighter and greener. So that wasn't the CGI company's fault. That was Ang Lee's fault. But it just looks so cartoonish and so outlandish. And, the thing about this movie is, where does this fall in canon? Because some of the people that are in that film are also in Incredible Hulk, right?
No, it's completely out of canon.
So even though it's the same cast, some of them.
Who's the same cast?
Isn't Thunderbolt Ross the same?
I don't think so.
Is Aerosmith's daughter the same?
Nope.
Really?
Jennifer Connelly, I think, played, what's her name? Betty.
What the hell movie did I watch?
The Incredible Hulk.
Oh, yeah, probably. So this has no canonability, nothing whatsoever.
No, it's not at all part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's because they strayed really far from the Hulk's origins.
Yeah.
And, the character and all that. Because Eric Bana played Bruce Banner. And
same name. That's how he got the role.
Yeah. I just looked up. So this came out 3 years after X-Men 1. This came out in 2003.
Wow. So if you look at the quality of those two films, it seems like night and day.
Yeah. And it's... I've only seen it a couple times, and have I seen this recently? And that's another thing we want to clarify. It's not like we went back and watched all these movies. So some of these we're trying to remember back.
Speak for yourself, Tim. I watched all 100 movies last night.
Fantastic. This is part of your wormhole time dimension thing, right?
Yeah. They just froze me in ice, and I just watched them constantly.
Yeah. So, it's one of these movies that has really been pushed to the side, pushed to the back. It's not a lot of people think this is fantastic, including myself.
Yeah.
The portrayal of the Hulk, it's hard to watch, and he's quite large in it as well.
Yeah. Isn't he grow in size? Like, it's very unconstant.
Yeah, that was in the comics a bit, I think, maybe, that the madder he got, the bigger he got.
Okay.
Maybe. I cannot 100% say that, but I want to think that's something that has happened before. So,
which is the opposite of men everywhere.
Okay, let's jump to our next Batman. You know, his his, if not the first, venturing into comic book movie.
Yeah, I think so. He was in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, playing a comic book writer. But yeah, this is his first comic book role. And if I remember correctly, just listening on Fat Man on Batman, I think Ben Affleck was cast in a Kevin Smith film. And then he got the notice that he's going to be starring in Daredevil. So they had to shelve that film for a couple of years while he shot Daredevil.
Okay.
So, you know, he's a big comic book fan. He loves Batman. He loves Daredevil. So he wanted to do right by the character. Fortunately, you know, he gave it his best efforts, but that was in a time when Ben Affleck wasn't quite the actor he is right now.
No, I think sometimes there's a period in there when he just kind of gave up for a while.
Yeah, I mean, he just took the paycheck and acted. But, you know, if you watch the director's cut, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's pretty good. You know, I'm not gonna heap the praise onto this thing. There were some good scenes in there. I liked the suit was kind of cool, very leathery, very of the time.
Yeah, very. He could have fit into an X-Men Bryan Singer movie.
Yeah, and you know they brought some cool characters in there: Bullseye, Elektra, and Kingpin as well.
Yeah,
and so this pales in comparison to the Netflix TV series.
Oh, night and day.
Yeah,
night and day.
But there's some cool scenes with him fighting as a blind guy and all that stuff. So you know, there's things that worked in there. But overall, you know, it's one of these movies that there's this kind of pocket of Marvel movies that happened in kind of the early 2000s that, you know, had, you know, didn't have the quality and time and effort it seemed put into these. You know, this is really when we're kicking up, we're ramping off. So, you know, you can give some credit to these movies, particularly these ones in the early 2000s, that were laying some of the foundation, some of the groundwork for, you know, a lot of these movies to prop themselves up on. And I'm not saying that, you know, movies like Avengers and that have to thank these movies, but they did open up the concept of comic book movies and comic book characters in film. Yeah. And so, you know, who are you giving the win to here?
Out of a tough decision, I'm going with the Reds over the Greens. Daredevil over Hulk.
I'm going to have to fall in the same direction. Yes. I think Daredevil definitely takes this one. Not by much.
No, by a blind stick.
Yeah. And Troy falls with us there. So on our last and final one, we kind of line up here nicely, and he's also voted for Daredevil.
Nice. It's kind of interesting to see how this pans out, how this shakes out. You know, the interesting thing, too, is, you know, if you guys really enjoy this could become an annual thing because, you know, we wanted to get this done by March. So unfortunately, this doesn't include any 2016 movie after Deadpool. So Deadpool's been getting good reviews. So we said, hey, let's just give it a buy. Yep. Figured it probably will get a buy either way. Definitely. So, you know, if this is something you guys enjoy and you want us to bring back next year, we can get different matchups and we'll have 6 new movies to include. And we can also expand and see where we take it. So let us know your feedback. And let us know your list too. We'll be posting the bracket online, and you can find out where to go for that on the description. And we'll also tweet out a link. And as we go into the second round, some of these matchups will become a lot more difficult and stir up a good discussion, a good hearty discussion. I'm looking forward to the day where, you know, we have a Guardians versus Avengers matchup or something like that. You know, I'm interested to see where you lie and see where the people lie. Yeah, so for future rounds, we're going to move to 3 points to pass the post. And so that's going to be anything that's, you know, not unanimous is going to require a secondary vote. And we're going to rely on the listeners to break that vote. And, you know, with the majority of us kind of agreeing here, this is the first round, but I think we're going to start to really divert as we go into the subsequent rounds. We're going to see some biases taking over. We're going to see some nostalgia taking over. Yeah. So, you know, like Sanjay was saying, you know, we're going to post this and let us know your feedback. Let us know what you think. If you think we're crazy for putting, I don't know, say
a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie threw over some other movie.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's going to be a lot of fun. And, yeah, like we said, we're going to try to split this up over 2 or 3 other podcasts so we can kind of have some nice dialogue between ourselves. And, you know, we'd really love your input.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Tim, does this bring to a close episode 8 of The Nerd Room?
Yes, it does. You know, we're going to be back next week. Troy's going to be joining us, and we're doing a review on Deadpool.
Yes, I'd be interested to see if it can live up to the hype. Sometimes you get to a hype movie, and when it finally gets released, you know, that almost works against it.
Yeah.
Look at Ultron, look at Dark Knight Rises, you know, it's very decisive, but I think this one will live up to the hype.
I agree. And because I don't feel like I have a ton of background in Deadpool, I don't have a lot of connection to the character, I'm not carrying a lot of weight into this. So I think it's going to be one of those movies that a lot of people enjoy.
Yeah, the surprise hit of Winter 16.
Yeah. All right, Sanjay, this has been a ton of fun, but it's time that we end this.
Sadly, all good things must come to an end.
All right, guys. For the Nerd Room, I'm Tim.
And I'm Sunjay.
Thank you for entering the Nerd Room. That's him closing the door.
The only thing I'm closing the door on is my career in sound effects.
I agree. Don't forget to subscribe and rate and review us on iTunes. You can find our hosts, Tim and Sunjay, on Twitter at TheNerdRM and 1912 Podcasting. You can also email us at thenerdrm@gmail.com and 1912entertainment@gmail.com.